Hey there guys, and welcome back to another episode with the AI. Well, it's basically my therapy with ChatGPT. Let's just get straight to the point. Of course, now it's loading. Why is it that when my relationship crumbles, I crumble with it as well? Meaning that I just push everything away, I throw everything out, for instance, with YouTube or anything that is important to me. I just basically lose myself. What's the reason for that?
It sounds like when your relationship faces turbulence, you feel like your whole world shifts, almost like your identity and emotional stability are tied to it. It's a very human reaction, especially when someone or something like your partner holds such a big emotional space in your life. Relationships, particularly intimate ones, often become intertwined with our sense of self-worth and purpose. When the relationship struggles or falls apart, it can feel like everything that was giving you direction and validation is pulled away too. It's not uncommon to lose motivation for other parts of your life, like YouTube or other important passions, because in that moment they seem secondary to the emotional chaos you're going through. This can also be linked to something called attachment in psychological terms. When you're emotionally attached to someone, their well-being and the stability of the relationship often directly affect your sense of emotional security. When that attachment is threatened or broken, it can feel like a personal loss, shaking your sense of self and throwing off your priorities. In addition, if you're dealing with unresolved emotions or internal conflict, the weight of those feelings can take up so much mental and emotional energy that it's hard to focus on anything else. Sometimes it feels easier to numb yourself or shut things out rather than deal with that overwhelming feeling of loss. So when everything feels like it's crumbling, you may instinctively shut things out as a form of self-protection. It's a way of trying to regain control, but the problem is it often leaves you feeling disconnected from everything that once mattered to you. It's kind of like a defense mechanism that ultimately doesn't serve you long-term. The good news is recognizing this pattern is the first step. You can start to rebuild your identity, separate from the ups and downs of relationships. It's about learning to lean into things that center and ground you no matter what's happening around you. Do you feel like you've identified any specific triggers for this emotional shutdown when things go wrong in your relationships?
Well, yeah, every time something goes wrong, I feel like I'm not worth it. I am trash. I am basically a piece of shit. So therefore, I wonder, why should I bother continue with anything else? Because I am nothing. Wow, Yoda language.
I hear you. When things go wrong, it feels like everything about you gets pulled into that negative space and you start questioning your worth. It's really tough to separate the circumstances from your self-value, especially when you're emotionally overwhelmed. It's like you start identifying with the failure or the hurt rather than seeing it as something that's happening to you, not something that defines you. The I'm worthless mindset can often spiral, and you get stuck thinking that because something isn't going well in one area, like your relationship, it means the whole of you is flawed. But here's the thing, your worth doesn't depend on your mistakes, your relationship status, or even how you feel in certain moments. Those feelings are valid, but they don't define who you are as a person. It's like, when you have a bad day, does that mean you're a bad person for the rest of your life? Of course not. But when your emotional state is in turmoil, it can cloud your thinking, and that's where these harsh self-judgments come from. It's almost like a knee-jerk reaction to pain or disappointment, a way of coping, but it's not an accurate reflection of reality. You're not trash. You're not a piece of shit. You're a person going through real challenges, and the fact that you're reflecting and trying to work through them already shows you have the strength to overcome them. The more you separate your actions or mistakes from who you truly are, the easier it becomes to stop identifying with that harsh, critical voice? Is it hard for you to accept that you can still be worthy even when you make mistakes or things go wrong?
Well, from what you've said, I already know what I have to work on, which is acting despite what happens to me, and that those things don't define me as a person. So do no matter what, and this is just something that I really, really have to work on.
Exactly. It's about finding the strength to keep going despite the setbacks or emotions that arise. Life is messy and things won't always go the way you want them to, but that doesn't diminish who you are. You can still act with purpose, even when you feel like you're being knocked down. It's a tough habit to break, but every time you push forward, even when it's hard, you're building resilience. This isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up, taking the steps you need, and trusting that no moment of difficulty defines you forever. You've got the right mindset. Recognizing the need for change is the first step. And now it's just about practicing that new way of thinking, one moment at a time. What would be a small, achievable step you could take today to start putting that into action? Something that helps remind you that you're still moving forward no matter what happens.
Well, I can just, train myself basically. So, yeah. I think the idea is clear. I just have to practice that. I have to do despite what happens to me. And yeah, it is a challenge because I always let those circumstances or events define me as a person. And when you're so locked in to that mindset, I feel like I am swept away. And yeah, that's just how it is, but I'll work on that. Anyway, guys, I hope you found this helpful or insightful. Maybe you can share with me your journey or your piece of advice. I appreciate it. But anyway, in the meantime, you can support this channel by liking it and going on Patreon. Link is in the description. And also watch this video right here. Click it.